5 News This Morning starts now.
Well, thanks so much for waking up with us here this morning on 5 News Plus. I'm Joe Ellison.
And I'm Jacob Luthi. Coming up, construction on a new 3-mile bridge in Barling connecting traffic to I-40 begins today. We have a live report on the project coming up.
Plus, reports of a man engaging in lewd behavior at a public park in Fayetteville. What police are saying about this incident.
And now we're taking a live look over Fayetteville, down the downtown square this morning at Good Morning to you there. Happy Friday, everybody. Thank you for joining us. What a great start to the day. What a beautiful sunrise that we've been seeing all morning long.
Yeah, I feel like it's been a pretty long week. Tiffany taking the day off, enjoying her great day. I know she's in Little Rock enjoying some nice weather there.
Yeah, really, no matter where you are across state, pretty nice weather, a little less muggy. So I think we're all really enjoying that. So we'll talk about what we're going to see for the rest of today. So Cody and Glory, my two directors back there, coordinating this little bit of shift. I was just saying, I got to get my pageant wave on. We just did it yesterday in Van Buren. I got it at Valley Springs. I got to make sure I have my pageant on. I just couldn't beat those ladies that were there last night. Otherwise, again, across the board here, you're seeing plenty of that blue sky, or I guess a little bit of orange at that. Maybe a few thin clouds out there. Otherwise, again, as we eventually get through the rest of today, those clouds will thin out, at least during the morning hours, and we'll see plenty of that sunshine. Temperatures right now in the low to mid 70s, so that's where we'll be as kids are heading off to the bus stop. We'll be around 70, if not maybe more closer to the mid 70s in the River Valley. It'll be pleasant, but less muggy. Those temperatures at recess or lunchtime will be in the 80s, and then as you're heading home, we'll be in the upper 80s, low 90s, have a little bit more of those puffy cumulus clouds. Otherwise, not too shabby of a day. In terms of the feels like, it's not going to be too much hotter than the actual temperature. So the actual temperature will probably be in the low 90s for Northwest Arkansas. Those feels like will be in the mid 90s. For the River Valley, again, more the same. For the River Valley, it'll be in the mid 90s. It'll get close to 100, if not hit 100 today. So again, just keep that in mind as you're heading out the door. Not as bad, certainly, as we've definitely seen. Now, if you're looking forward to the weekend, you're like, all right, Danny, I want it to be here now. Well, it's pretty similar of a forecast. Maybe a degree or two warmer tomorrow. Maybe a stray shower chance as well, especially in Northwest Arkansas. Sunday is probably looking like a very nice day if you combine all the factors of less humidity, temperatures around seasonal conditions, and plenty of sunshine. So the River Valley is more of the same. And then again, maybe a stray shower chance on Saturday for the River Valley, but I think the better chance in Northwest Arkansas because the cold front will be swinging through on Saturday. And while it won't take full effect on Saturday or Sunday, Monday, it's definitely going to feel cooler. So as you saw, a warm weekend's ahead. It'll be less smuggy, especially as we head into the day tomorrow and Sunday. And then next week, it's going to be a whole lot cooler around here and maybe personality-wise too, but also just the actual temperature, and then wet, especially for the early part of the week, Monday to Tuesday. That's what looks like the best chance of rain. So we'll talk more about that in detail, talk about the full forecast of the weekend, as well as those rain chances in about 15 minutes. Now let's take a live look at traffic on this Friday morning. Take a live look in the Bentonville area along I-49 at A Street there. Good morning to you there. Traffic moving smoothly so far on this Friday, so hopefully everyone's going to have a great start and great overall day, and we'll have that full forecast, I should say, in just a little bit. Jacob and Joe.
All right, thanks for that, Danny. Well, today, phase 1 begins for construction to connect to 2 central interstate systems at Barling.
5 News reporter Emily Moss joins us live at the construction site with more on this project. Good morning, Emily.
Good morning, Joe and Jacob. Today's groundbreaking is really just marking the ceremonial portion of this project. Work has already been underway to create the Arkansas Bridge to connect to Sebastian and Crawford counties. It's just phase 1 of the project, spanning over 3 miles, connecting the counties. The full project is over 14 miles, fully connecting Highway 22 to I-40 as part of a I-49 as part of a statewide project to connect 49 and 40. RDOT Dave Parker says this project is essential to this area.
49, as you know now, you're coming down from Canada and it stops. And then you've got that gap where in Arkansas where you don't have a connection. So in essence on a map, you're coming down this way and then there's this 150-mile gap. We're the missing piece in all that. Arkansas is the missing piece, and Congress years ago designated.
So this project again is just phase 1. Once the bridge is complete, they'll start phase 2, which should include creating the new portion of I-49, and eventually it'll be connected from I-49 through to I-40. Dave Parker expects that this project will bring quite the economic boom to the area because now the commerce trucks that are going through the interstates will actually be able to stop into the River Valley instead of going around it. Back to you.
All right, thanks for that, Emily. Well, the spillway gate at Dardanelle Lock and Dam has finally been closed. A spokesperson for the Army Corps confirming it was closed around 9 o'clock last night. It comes as a routine flush on Tuesday there at the dam turned critical when a gate failed to close. Public Affairs Officer Jay Townsend says that crews have worked nonstop with up to 30 people on site. Closing the gate before the water reached elevation, engineers say between 2 and 4 weeks of recovery time. Townsend credits the crew's hard work and dedication for getting the gate back down.
Those are great Americans and great Arkansans, right? They live in these communities and they work here too, so they want nothing more than to bring that gate down.
Well, now that the gate has been fixed, barred traffic between Fort Smith and Dardanelle will be back to normal this morning.
Meanwhile, the city of Fort Smith has lifted all water conservation measures. This comes 18 days after a water main break between Phoenix and Lee Ave. That line was fully fixed on August 8th. The measures were lifted as reservoirs and storage tanks returned to normal operating levels. Officials estimate around 1 million gallons of drinking water was lost from the main break.
And we're looking into reports of a man allegedly engaging in lewd behavior at a Fayetteville park. 5 News reporter Claire Everbach got in touch with police about what they're investigating.
Fayetteville police got a call last night about a man who was reportedly, quote, touching himself inappropriately here at Wilson Park.
It's a white male in his 30s, around 6 foot, average build, wearing a blue, I believe, basketball or shorts of some type, and possibly a gray hooded sweatshirt.
Fayetteville police say the phone tip came in on Wednesday around 7:25 p.m.
We did receive a call from a concerned citizen about a suspicious individual in and around the Wilson Park area who was apparently touching himself inappropriately.
Sergeant Stephen Mock says police have not yet found the suspect, but remain on high alert.
They put the park on extra patrol request, and we actually have a full-time trail and parks unit that patrols the parks and the city trails. So they are aware of it. We are continuing to look into identifying the subject and figure out what's going on.
He urges residents that if you see something, say something.
Call as soon as possible. The quicker we get the call, the quicker we can get our officers headed that way, and the higher likelihood we have of locating and identifying who was responsible.
Mock encourages all park goers to take precautions, like avoiding wearing headphones, keeping a cell phone handy, and always staying alert.
A state of vigilance is always necessary when you're out in public, just anywhere. You are still living in the real world, and you need to be aware of your surroundings.
Sergeant Mock says that they take these kinds of investigations very seriously and will continue to search for the individual involved. In Fayetteville, covering news where you live, Claire Everbach, 5 News.
Coming up on the Daily Brew, a Delta plane wing breaks off during a flight. We have the video as passengers look out the window.
And Netflix is now offering a playlist of shows based off your zodiac sign. Well, it will recommend for you, and we'll share our zodiac playlists coming up.
Let's take a live look outside in Springdale. It's 7 minutes past 7 o'clock on this Friday. We'll be right back.
Well, welcome back. Time now is 7:09 this morning. In your consumer news, tariffs didn't impact Bentonville-based retailer Walmart's quarterly earnings. The report was released and shows sales are up nearly 5%, with big gains in online shopping and advertising. The company also rolled out more than 7,000 price cuts, including a 30% jump in grocery rollbacks. The company's earnings differed notably from Target, which reported another quarter of sales declines earlier this week. Meanwhile, what's in a logo? Apparently tens of millions of dollars in market value when it comes to Cracker Barrel. Thursday, the company's stock took a nosedive, shedding more than $90 million in market value after a controversial logo change. Conservative commentators have lashed out at the new look, which removes the iconic barrel and image of the man in the logo, known as Uncle Herschel. The update comes as Cracker Barrel has also begun redesigning its restaurants. Earlier this week, the company said in a statement, "Our values haven't changed and the heart and soul of Cracker Barrel haven't changed." Well, in more consumer news, fans of Severance, the morning show, and other popular Apple shows are going to pay more to have to watch them soon. Apple TV Plus says it's hiking its monthly fee for U.S. subscribers to $12.99, up from $9.99. The yearly price will remain at $99.99. Scams have affected many, but how best can you protect your loved ones? Reporter Allison Gormy shows us ways you can assist your close ones when it comes to lending money.
Scams happen to the people we love.
There are some really powerful stories out there about people who have a lot of common sense, very smart, very intelligent people who get caught up in things they never would imagine they've gotten caught up in.
Kate Ashford with NerdWallet said it's important to consider safeguards before a loss. However, they're not foolproof. A good starting point, adding a trusted contact to accounts.
They will contact you if they think that your parent is involved in something and making bad decisions, and then you can be the person in the position of being like, "Mom, what's happening?" But you can't actually make any decisions on their behalf.
So a heads up is where your power as a trusted contact stops. The next option, power of attorney.
They should have estate planning with a power of attorney named for finances and healthcare. And that is a person that can make decisions on your parent's behalf. It doesn't supersede your parent's decision unless your parent is incapacitated.
And again, unless the criteria is met, a family member can still give away their money to criminals, setting up the framework to help spot red flags.
Well, as we're waking up on this Friday morning, take a live look at traffic. Here's a live look along I-49 in the Rogers area, along I-49. I already said that. Along I-49 near the AMP, you can see plenty of that blue sky, a few thin clouds out there. Otherwise, a nice start to our Friday. Now, currently in Rogers, it is 71 degrees. Southeast wind about 5 miles per hour. Winds are going to be very light today, really only about 5 to 6 miles per hour at best. Dew points, not too shabby. We're in the mid-60s for the most part across the board. We're feeling that little less humidity day by day. That's really going to help us feel much more comfortable out there. Unfortunately, we really haven't seen a whole lot of rain recently, really in the past month, even though it's been so muggy from the rain we saw to start spring. Unfortunately, when you have these massive gaps of rain minus a few hit or miss storms, it starts to add up. So last week's drought monitor, again, it gets updated every Thursday, so in case you missed this, last week we had a lot of abnormally dry conditions return to the area. Now this isn't drought, but it's close to drought. The drought is actually this gray here, or I should say more orangish, tannish color in Carroll County. Now this is this week's, and you can see that drought has expanded now into southern Washington County, as well as a good portion of Crawford County and a little bit into Franklin County as well. Really the only spots are far southern LaFleur County there, and as well as a lot of western Benton County, where we saw a lot of rainfall and those kind of flash flooding events in last month, or early this month as well. So the question is when are we going to see any of that kind of change? And unfortunately with that, at least in the short term, it's not going to change much. So you can see these burn bans, in fact, for Crawford, Sebastian, Franklin, and Johnson County, with more to possibly come if we see things not changing. Thankfully, some changes on the way starting next week. One of those changes are going to be in the form, I should say, of a cold front. We're seeing that very strong counterclockwise rotation of the low. You can see these arrows really being pulled in. So it's a strong low, and with it, a strong front that's really going to drop off our temperatures as it sends its way here over the next 2 days. When it moves through on Saturday, we're not going to feel immediate effects. We'll feel a hint of it on Sunday. For today and tomorrow, it could feel close, if not hit 100 in the River Valley, for that feels like mid-90s northwest Arkansas, but nothing that we can't handle, especially to start this week. Felt as hot as maybe close to 115. Then on Sunday, it drops a few degrees, and then Monday and Tuesday, it's off the scale, especially on Tuesday because we'll have those elevated rain chances. Now, for the dew points, we'll continue to see that decline over the next few days through the weekend. We'll be anywhere from the mid-60s today down into the upper 50s and low 60s on Sunday. Going to feel spectacular on Sunday just with the humidity. It's still going to be pretty warm. Monday and Tuesday, the humidity does climb back up a little bit because those rain chances are increased. So thankfully, not only is the temperature going to be lower, so it doesn't, evaporate as much moisture out of the ground with the higher temperatures, but also we'll have more chance of rain, which is obviously the best combatant for any drought. Now, what we'll see on Saturday, this is fast forwarding to noon, that cold front will swing through. We're not going to feel the immediate effects, and with it, maybe could see an isolated shower in northwest Arkansas. But most of us, I think, do stay dry. Sunday, I think, for the day, will mainly stay dry, maybe passing shower to our south. But I think, again, Saturday and Sunday mainly dry, but Saturday a little bit of a better chance of a stray shower. The better chance of rain comes on Monday, especially Monday afternoon into the evening hours. Here's 6 o'clock. You can see a little bit of a line that's forming here. So when we have northwest flow, which we're going to be entering here on Sunday and Monday, you start to get these kind of repeated rounds of showers and storms. We kind of had that to start July, if you remember, especially during the overnight hours, got those heavy rain events. So we could see that Monday night into Tuesday, which is our best chance of rain. You can see that organization a little bit better here. Then after Tuesday, the question becomes, when do we see our next best rain chance? Wednesday looks like it could be quite dry, but there are some other indications that we could see some rain on Wednesday, so we'll keep the 30% in there for now. On Thursday, we'll see how far west or east it shifts. Some models are indicating it's going to be a little bit farther west. Some are indicating a little bit farther east. So all in all, there still is some details to be ironed out about where these will line up. All in all, though, on the low end, 2 inches maybe for rainfall, especially for Monday and Tuesday, then up to 4 if we get them more pulled our way. So again, we have high confidence. Temperatures are going to drop. That we know. The bigger question is going to be those rain chances on Wednesday and Thursday. How high is it going to get? So again, I have pretty high confidence on Monday and Tuesday's chance, but Wednesday and Thursday we'll have to keep an eye on. For the River Valley, you're seeing those high temperatures into the low to mid 80s. And again, especially on Tuesday, if rain sticks around, we could see areas stay in the 70s and maybe northwest Arkansas, especially if it rains all day, could stay into the upper 60s.
All right, on today's Daily Brew, we have some good ones, like some good little talkers for you today. First, we're talking about this video. I don't know if you guys have seen it, where the FAA investigating after a part of a Delta Airlines wing partially broke off during a flight. You see it there. It's sort of just like flapping. This is on Tuesday. It departed from Orlando, but landed safely in Austin, Texas. So could you imagine, though, like being a passenger and seeing that?
Yeah, I'm always looking out the window. Imagine sitting there looking, wait a minute. Something's
What's going
not right.
Yeah, because I mean, flights are mostly safe, right? But at the same time, I mean, being on a flight, period, always gives you a little anxiety.
And especially with everything we've been hearing about this year, just alone with flights. So, yeah, I would like to think that I look at that and I say, okay, hopefully there's enough backup where enough things about this plane are okay. So
enough wings.
Yeah, enough going on.
Yeah, I was gonna say I used to have a little bit of a fear of flying, especially when I was younger. I still kind of have a little bit of butterflies. I think, especially like you said, with everything going on. My brother-in-law is a pilot for Alaska, and he's told me time and time again, you're much safer flying than driving. But again, I think it's that control aspect. Like you feel like you're in control driving, not so much flying. But again, thankfully everyone was safe, and they just had to look at maintenance for it. But yeah, stuff you see that. That's why I like to take the window seat and then shut the window, so then I don't look out and be like,
oh, Danny, you're one of those people.
Yeah, but the problem is that if I look out the window and go, oh, is that supposed to be off the? So then I start freaking myself out. I'm like, no, because sometimes, especially on long flights, if it's gonna be really hot, they require you to shut the window.
Yeah.
Like my flight to Hawaii, they're like, no, you can't even open. I was like, that's fine. I'm flying over the ocean. That's kind of scary.
I kind of feel like when I'm on a plane, though, if someone has the window seat and I wasn't able to get it, I'm like, don't shut that window. No, I want to see.
Yeah.
I know. I was gonna say, especially on those bigger planes, on the smaller planes, I have a flight back to Minneapolis in the next month. I took the window seat, but it's only 2 seats, so it's like you can take the aisle. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like a give or take. Just don't do the middle. My goodness. All right. Your zodiac sign can help you find, a love match and know when to search for a job if you believe in that kind of thing, right? But they're also saying it also can help you decide what to stream. Netflix is offering a show and movie recommendation based on your zodiac sign. It's called the Astrology Hub. So It basically creates a watch list for you. It's already launched, so you can try it out. And so what we did is we kind of took our zodiac signs here on set to see what it would suggest for us, okay? So I'm a Pisces, and it would suggest Bridgerton, Exo Kitty, have more of a like dreamlike romance and fantasy vibe. I'm thinking right off the bat, not true. Joe's more of I'm a crime documentary history, things like that.
All right, so we're 0 for 1.
We missed the mark there on that one. Danny, you're a Scorpio.
Okay.
So it would have a lot of like love mysteries like Wednesday, The Night Agent, Glass Onion, Knives Out mystery.
So that's half true. I do like mysteries, like to an extent. I'm not like a big like Sherlock Holmes fan. I loved Knives Out, especially the first one. The second one was okay, but I'm more of like a drama. Drama's probably like my favorite. It's pretty cliche, but I love drama. So I'd say that's half right. We'll get a half point.
Okay, well, Jacob here is a Cancer, so the playlist would try to tap into his heartfelt, emotional side.
I would agree with that. So
okay. Heartstopper, Ginny in Georgia.
I haven't seen either of those. I did see The Night Agent up there on Danny's list. That was a great show.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So kind of like a hit and miss here.
So 50%, it sounds like 1.5 out of 3.
Yeah.
I will say, like, there are, like, Bridgerton, for yours, great show.
Yeah. No, I mean, I liked it.
Yeah.
Because there was so much buzz, I kind of, went into it, and it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. So are you someone that tends to believe in, I know because there's a lot of people that believe in astrology, and then there's a lot of people that believe in, the zodiac sign. Like, do you think, like, on this day or this week,
I think it can be fun. I think there may be some little peg to it, but am I basing my decisions off of it? Not a chance.
I was going to say, I think I'd trust a magic 8-ball more than astrology.
Yeah.
But we'll leave
Shake
it at
that thing up.
That's right.
All right, so let's talk about this. Country star Morgan Wallen is not submitting his music for consideration for the 2026 Grammys. Now, we've heard of other artists like The Weeknd and Drake doing this as well. And it just sort of like causes a little bit of why not, right? Because I don't think anyone's really publicly come out and said exactly why not. I think it's more of they feel like maybe they're not getting recognized in some way.
Yeah, and honestly, it was a shock to me. I can't remember who it was that publicly said, like, I had no idea I had to submit it myself. It's like for TV Emmys, we have awards here too. We have to submit our works to an organization and they review it. I didn't realize like you have to do that for the Grammys, Oscars, all of that. So that part surprised me. But also, Morgan Wallen, as big as a star as he is, I'm just, like you said, shocked that he wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And I think you're starting to see either more of this or just, in terms of, some of the world's biggest celebrities or singers not submitting it because I guess maybe they don't hold value in that kind of award. They don't hold value in that kind of like accolade. They're more like, hey, I'm, what was that number? 11,
Yeah, 11 of his
that's
albums.
probably where he gets his 11 weeks as #1 on the Billboard 200. That's probably where he gets his, validations
like,
because he knows
yeah.
that there's people buying in and listening to it.
Yeah.
And if you've seen his shows recently, stadiums just completely sold out.
Right. So is it more of a, like they feel like they're being snubbed?
Well, I wonder if that's part of it too.
Yeah.
But like Jacob said, maybe like going like double platinum or whatever for albums, like they said, maybe that's more important to them.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. Hey, stay with us. We'll have more 5 News This Morning Plus coming up.
This is a 5 News Update.
Good morning and happy Friday. I'm 5 News meteorologist Danny Cassie. For today, very similar day to yesterday, maybe a degree or two warmer in some spots. Otherwise, most of us are going to feel pretty similar conditions. Highs in the low to mid 90s in northwest Arkansas. Maybe could see a couple upper 80s, low to mid 90s in the River Valley. We'll see plenty of sunshine this morning as you're already seeing. Then a few puffy cumulus clouds during the afternoon. Winds will remain light. I think will stay dry for us during the day today. For tonight, low temperatures in the mid 60s in northwest Arkansas, upper 60s and low 70s in the River Valley. So you can see pretty seasonal for this time of year, mostly clear skies and a light wind. Then for tomorrow, again, it's like Danny, did it change? Well, a little bit. High temperatures, maybe a degree or two warmer, partly cloudy skies, a little bit more cloud cover throughout the day, and then a stray shower chance, especially for northwest Arkansas, with a little bit of a northerly breeze as well as 5 to 15 as a cold front swings through the area starting tomorrow. Now, we won't feel the full effects of it really until Monday, but you notice after today and tomorrow, where it could feel like close to 100 in the River Valley, in the mid-90s northwest Arkansas, it'll drop a few degrees on Sunday, then really just drop off the scale in a good way beneath on Monday and Tuesday when not only cooler temperatures arrive, but less humidity arrives as well. Those dew points for today are going to be in the mid-60s, eventually dropping into the low to mid-60s on Saturday, and then the upper 50s and low 60s on Sunday. It's going to feel very nice out there, even if it is a little bit warm. Then on Monday and Tuesday, we'll see those dew points kind of rise a little bit due to the fact we'll have some rain chance. I think especially the best chance Monday night into Tuesday. So much needed rainfall could be on the way starting on Monday, especially because we haven't seen a whole lot in a month plus. Hey, if you're watching us over on CBS, we're streaming every morning from 7 to 8 a.m. on 5 News Plus exclusively from 7 to 8 a.m. As I mentioned, join the whole crew, Jacob, Tiffany, myself, Emily, and Joe. We'll be streaming every morning from 7 to 8. We'll catch you over there for the next half hour for news, weather, and traffic on 5 News Plus.
Five News This Morning starts now.
Well, thank you for joining us here on 5 News This Morning Plus. I'm Joe Willison.
And I'm Jacob Luthi. Our top stories this morning. After days of trouble, a malfunctioning spillway gate on the Arkansas River is finally closed. We'll hear about the intense efforts to get it shut down.
And a gardening program from the Benton County Jail is helping inmates find an outlet to help the community. But first, the live look over Ozark here at 7:30 this morning. have a great weekend because it's Friday. You can already start thinking about it and start making your plans, right?
I know. Say those plans should be okay. We're seeing nice conditions, maybe an isolated shower tomorrow, but really it's feeling nicer. It's feeling pretty warm, and then really the big cool down comes next week, as well as some better rain chance. So we'll talk about that here. Do I get my privileges back? Oh, they're saying a new angle this time. They're like, all right, Danny, you're walking too fast, so we got to make it a little bit better. So we'll zoom out on you so you have more room to roam. Now I'm actually going too slow. I hear Glory laughing back there. Sorry, Glory. I'm not up to your pace here. You're like Hall of Fame. I'm like rookie. We need to meet in the middle somewhere. Currently right now in Fort Smith it's 74 degrees, light easterly wind. Again, for right now we are feeling a little less muggy out there, and with that light wind, we'll continue to have a light wind overall. Dew point in the upper 60s, so again, not as muggy as it has been, but still a little sticky nonetheless. Here's a live look in downtown Fayetteville. 66 dew point here in the mid 60s though, down below 65 for the first time. It feels like maybe forever, so it feels a little bit better out there, especially in Northwest Arkansas as you're heading out the door. It feels more like it should be for this time of year, in the mid to upper 60s and low 70s. So around 70 degrees for the bus stop you saw there in Fort Smith. It was 74, Fayetteville 66. So we'll kind of meet in the middle. We'll call it 70s. You're heading out to the bus stop. Recess will be a little bit warmer into the 80s, and then for your heading home forecast, upper 80s, low 90s. It's going to be hot somewhat, but again, not too shabby, especially because the feels like won't be as bad. Breaking it down a little bit further, high temperatures again in the low 90s for Northwest Arkansas. We'll keep the winds light. We'll build in clouds during the afternoon, but again, most of us are going to stay dry. In terms of the River Valley, again, it's more of the similar story. Light winds, highs in the mid 90s. Continue to see things pretty nice for us as we head into our weekend. Now, in terms of that feels like, again, it's going to be more in the mid 90s, I think, for Northwest Arkansas. So a little bit warmer than usually what we expect. And then for the River Valley, we'll feel that close to 100. So a little bit higher than what we've been seeing, but still not too shabby, especially because the humidity used to be just awful. Now, in terms of the temperature outlook here, you're going to notice that well below normal conditions, not only for early next week, but late next week as well. And coincide with the fact that the precip outlook, or just rainfall in general, is going to be above normal, especially off to our west. But there are some questions remaining. Where exactly do these repeated rounds line up for us? So we'll talk more about that here coming up in your full forecast. For now, we'll take a live look at traffic on this Friday morning. Take a live look along I-540 at Rogers Avenue in the Fort Smith area. Good morning to you there. Traffic moving smoothly so far across the region. Let's have a great Friday, y'all. With the full forecast coming up in just a little bit. Joe and Jacob.
Well, thanks, Danny. After days of malfunction, a part of the Dardanelle Lock and Dam has been repaired. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers says the gate was shut down around 9 o'clock last night.
5 News reporter Parker Abels was there with a look at the challenging effort to restore operations.
Tuesday, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers opened up Gate 20 at Dardanelle Dam to flush some debris, a normally routine operation. However, this time, the gate didn't close. Public Affairs Officer Jay Townsend says crews have been working non-stop to get it back down.
Mobilized 2 motor vessels with big crane barges on them upstream of Dardanelle Dam now to try to hook onto that gate and pull it back down. It's a gravity normally pulls that gate down, but it is stuck in position. Engineers are trying to figure out how it's stuck there and how we can loosen it to get it to come back down.
By early Thursday evening, they had 25 to 30 people at a time working against the clock to close the gate. Townsend says if the gate didn't get closed by Friday evening, Arkansas Nuclear 1 would have needed to shut down.
Not being able to close means that the pool upstream is going to continue to drop. And if it drops enough, roughly to about elevation 336, that means Arkansas Nuclear 1 is going to need to do a shutdown. That means navigation, barges and vessels won't be able to go up and down that stretch of the river between Dardanelle and Ozark.
By closing the gate before the water reached elevation 336, it saved them between 2 and 4 weeks. Townsend says it would have taken them that long to get the water levels back to normal. But Townsend credits the crew's hard work and dedication for bringing the gate back down.
Those are great Americans and great Arkansans, right? They live in these communities and they work here too, so they want nothing more than to bring that gate down.
In Dardanelle, covering news where you live, Parker Abels, 5 News.
Rogers High School is changing its name. Leaders say the new title better represents who the students are. Rogers' new technology high school is now known as the Rogers Academy of Leadership and Innovation. School leaders say they do things a little bit different, with teachers playing more of a guiding role and students leading the classrooms. Rogers Superintendent Jeff Perry says the new name better encapsulates the excellence of the students' work.
So they were always very dedicated and committed to academic excellence. But that name New Tech didn't really capture the essence of who they were. And so with the name change, that really corresponds to what they always were.
Well, an area garden is cultivating more than just crops. It's transforming lives and feeding communities. 5 News reporter Laura Castleman got to see the garden yesterday, and all that it grows.
It had been done previous garden projects by other sheriffs, but nothing to the extent we have here. It's a way for them to start something from the ground up.
Benton County Sheriff Sean Holloway has seen the program and garden expand for almost a decade.
A lot of people call it working the dirt is healing for the soul. And there's a lot of truth to that.
The inmates grow 20 to 30 different kinds of plants every year. That is hundreds of vegetables that will eventually be donated to local food pantries. And in order to keep the plants happy and healthy, they planted an array of flowers and sunflowers to bring in pollinators.
It means a lot, you know, because just being able to help with the community.
The sheriff says the idea behind the garden is to help change the lives of inmates participating in the program. But it goes further, with inmates also impacting the local community by donating all produce to area food banks.
Come outside and being able to work in the garden, and it's a real big privilege.
Tyler Walters is an active member of the gardening program.
First it's like nothing, and then within that month's over, it's like you're already making donations. You're already being able to donate out to the community.
Growing a variety of plants and produce.
Watermelons and cantaloupes.
Corn to watermelon to peppers, tomatoes. There's a whole list of stuff. It changes year to year based on what is donated. This year, I believe we've had around 900 pounds of product that's gone to food banks.
With the end goal of donating 10,000 pounds to local food banks.
It's just really good as a person, not just an inmate. A lot of people working in gardens say it's healing. So I believe that's healing for the inmates as well.
In Bentonville, covering news where you live, Laura Castleman, 5 News.
Well, Van Buren's Valley Springs Rehab has a new senior queen, Shirley Reeder. Last night, Denny, Tiffany, and I, we were all the judges there at the pageant, along with the Crawford County Sheriff. Daniel Perry, we helped pick a winner. Patricia Keeney was your first runner-up, and then Paula Ellington, your second. Bonnie Wood sang as a song. She won talent there. We love the folks at Valley Springs. It's always a good time, and those ladies are so beautiful.
And how awesome, the whole community coming together. You got the Sheriff Daniel Perry there. You got other members of law enforcement there showing up for that moment.
It's fun. It was the first time for Tiffany and Danny to come and join me because I've done it before, and so I think they want to come back.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It was fun. All right, let's go ahead and take a live look outside this morning in Fort Smith. It's 7:37 at the Marshals Museum. Good morning to you there. Keep it here. We'll be right back.
5 News Around the Corner, sponsored by Ghirardelli Chocolate.
On this week's episode of Around the Corner, we're here in Bentonville at the Compton Garden.
Yeah, neat little arboretum here. You can walk the trails, see beautiful parts of nature, and learn a bit of history along the way.
Yeah, we're going to learn about Neil Compton, who started it all, right? It's here because of him. This used to be their home. Katie inside's going to tell us all about it. You ready?
I'm
Let's
ready.
go.
Let's
I
go.
like the name Arboretum.
Dr. Neil Compton was a local physician in the Bentonville area who lived in this home whenever it was built in 1952, but he is also a well-known conservationist, making the Ozark Society in 1961. They were able to save the Buffalo River from being dammed in 1972. Because of Dr. Compton's footprint in the Ozarks in saving the Buffalo River, the Peel Compton Foundation came together in about 2005 to take over the property and to create this level 2 class arboretum. The Compton Gardens and Arboretum brings a lot of awareness about native plants in the area. You can also walk along the trails that we have. We have about 1.5 miles of trails. This also highlights just how important nature is and how everyone can be involved in nature, and just see how a small seed of someone saying, no, this river needs to be saved, can become the first national preserved river and become a wonderful arboretum.
Well, I think either of these will lead to the same spot. I think we just got to go down that way.
All right. After you, Danny.
All right, let's do it.
All right, so this is Heartland. This is one of the things that people like to see the most, I think.
Yeah, she said they call it the meadow. She said this is one of the most popular parts. People love to come take pictures. There's little picnic tables where you can hang out. We've seen people riding bikes around here all day, so definitely come and check this part out. We've had such a great time here at the Compton Gardens. You might see the change of scenery, kind of. We're inside in the air conditioning, a place you'll definitely have to check out during the summer. But it's called the Garden Room. It's a new addition, absolutely beautiful. You can see everything.
Yeah, you can see everything, host events here and reserve spots if you want to. But otherwise, again, just enjoy the beautiful nature that's around here.
They say there's a little family of hedgehogs that live right off here on the side.
Ooh.
Maybe sometimes they come up.
Think Sonic's over there?
Yeah, definitely check out Compton Gardens. You guys are gonna love it here. We'll see you next time on
Around the Corner. Yeah, we had to go into the fountains right next door to the Compton Gardens because it was hot that day. It's not going to be as hot today, but still pretty warm nonetheless, but nothing that we can't handle here. Here's a live look for traffic here along I-40 to exit 37, the Ozark area. Good morning to you there. Again, traffic moving smoothly so far all across the region. Here's a live look in Bentonville where we were at the Compton Gardens. Here's along Walton Boulevard. Again, traffic picking up obviously as we're heading closer to 745. Currently in Bentonville it is 70 degrees. Dew point, again, they usually run a little bit higher in this station, so it's probably more in the 66 to 67 range. All in all, though, the theme is that it's a little bit less muggy out there, and things are going to get a little bit more comfortable as you head throughout the weekend. Unfortunately, recently, we've just not had a whole lot of rain, especially from mid-July really to now. We haven't had a whole lot of rain, so that drought monitor is starting to see a little bit more of abnormally dry conditions. So this was last week's, excuse me. You can see a lot of that abnormally dry condition. Again, that's not technically drought. What it is this level 1 here. You can see a little bit of that tannish color. Now fast forward to this weekend, it gets updated on Thursday, so yesterday. You can see moderate drought there for Crawford County, as well as southern Washington County and a good portion, or I should say far northwest corner of Franklin County, and then dipping further into portions of Carroll County. So with that, a lot of dry conditions as well as pretty hot conditions. We have some burn bans that are currently in effect. So that is in effect for Sebastian, Crawford, Franklin, and Johnson County, and more could be issued if we continue to see dry and hot conditions. And for the next couple of days we will, but then we'll see a big pattern shift that's really been talked about, well, probably what feels like an eternity, and we've probably been waiting for it forever, but it is going to get here. That cold front will be swinging on from the northwest and eventually make its way through the area actually tomorrow, but we won't feel the full effects until really Monday. Now, what it's going to do is two things. One, well, it's going to make it cooler. Well, it's like, well, gee, Danny, thanks for telling me that. But it's going to make things cooler. Actually, it's going to do three things. I lied. So here's the first thing. It'll make it feel a little bit cooler. So today and tomorrow in the River Valley, feeling close to 100. Northwest Arkansas, the mid-90s. Sunday, maybe a few degrees cooler, but then especially Monday and Tuesday, we'll be feeling more into the upper 80s, a low to mid-80s, excuse me. In some areas on Tuesday, might even get out of the 70s. For the dew points as well, we're going to see that decrease as well. So those dew points will be in the mid-60s for the next couple of days. Then Sunday will be in the upper 50s and low 60s. And then Monday and Tuesday, we are going to be more into the mid-60s. But that's because rain chances will return. That's the third thing here we're going to talk about, is we'll see those rain chances. Now on Saturday, it's a pretty isolated chance. I wouldn't put too much into it. But if you're out and about Saturday afternoon and evening, especially northwest Arkansas, keep an eye on the radar because you could see some of those showers move in. So here's Saturday at noon. We'll fast forward here. That cold front, as I mentioned, is going to swing through. Now you notice Saturday evening, a lot of it stays off to the north and to the west. But again, some of that could creep into our neck of the woods to the end of the day on Saturday. Sunday, I think remains dry. Any of that activity is going to stay close to the front, which will be well off to the south at this point. Then on Monday, this is where we see, I think, the best chance of rain, especially Monday afternoon and evening into the day hours on Tuesday. So you notice this kind of line building up here. This is due to this northwest flow we'll see a lot. Whenever you get northwest flow, you can sometimes get these repeated shots of energy that can create showers and storms, some of which could contain some heavy rain as well as gusty winds. So we'll see that kind of move through the area on Tuesday, see a little bit more of organization, then that'll move through. The question is after Tuesday, where do we see storms line up? For now, it looks like on Wednesday, we'll still have a little bit of an isolated chance, but most of it, at least in this futurecast, has it off to the west, whereas on Thursday, we'll have maybe a little bit of a better chance of it returning. But again, how far west does it say? Does it move farther east? So after Tuesday, there is some uncertainty with it. That energy will come close, but how close is the question. Now, in terms of rainfall, we can see anywhere on the lower end from 2 inches to maybe as high as 4 inches of rainfall over the next week. So it looks like we'll get that much rainfall coming in soon. It's just a matter of where it lines up, especially after Tuesday. So your 7-day forecast after this weekend can be warm. High temperatures still be in the low to mid 90s, but then after that, high temperatures, no matter what, whether we see rain or not, it's going to be cooler. Highs are going to be in the upper 70s and low 80s. And then for the River Valley, it'll be kind of in the low to mid 80s. And on Tuesday, we might not even get out of the 80s. Heck, we might not even get out of the 70s if things are going to be a little bit on the cooler side. So again, just be mindful that it is going to be a little bit wet next week, but a lot more of relief is on the way soon. Joe?
All right, thanks for that, Danny. Well, we have some breaking news for you this morning. We're learning moments ago the FBI is searching the Maryland home of John Bolton. Now, that's according to the Associated Press. Bolton served in President Trump's first administration as the National Security Advisor. A person familiar with the matter telling the AP that Bolton later became critical of the president as part of an investigation into the handling of classified information. However, the AP reporting Bolton was not detained this morning and has not been charged with any crimes. We'll continue to follow this investigation. We'll bring you the latest right here on 5 News and at 5newsonline.com. Well, in continuing coverage this morning, we're taking a look at some video from the Lyle and Eric Menendez brothers' arraignment. Now, this was back in 1990. 6 years later, the brothers were sentenced for killing their parents. Today, Lyle Menendez will argue his case for parole. The hearing comes one day after a California board denied Eric's request to get out of prison. CBS's Jared Hill has the latest.
Staring at a computer, Eric Menendez denied parole by a California board late Thursday. Today, his older brother Lyle gets his turn to argue for freedom.
We received a call on our 911 emergency line from the residents.
In 1996, the brothers were convicted of killing their parents with a shotgun in their Beverly Hills home 7 years before. At the time of the murders, Lyle was 21, Eric 18. They've spent the last 30 years in prison, but after recent intense public attention and discussion of new evidence of abuse, the parole hearings opened a possible pathway to freedom. The Los Angeles District Attorney is against their release, saying earlier this year that the brothers haven't taken full responsibility for their crime.
If and when they do come fully clean, I believe that the parole board should very well consider them as eligible for parole.
Some of the brothers' relatives have backed their push for parole, saying they've shown remorse and a commitment to rehabilitation. A cousin, after a judge reduced their sentence in May, making them eligible for parole.
They chose to live their lives with clarity and a purpose of service that the judge was impressed by.
Governor Gavin Newsom, who'd make the final decision on Lyle's release, says it'll be based on the facts.
I have not watched anything that has come out on the Menendez brothers, and I very intentionally avoided that in expectation and anticipation that this might land on my desk.
The brothers have tried to demonstrate their rehabilitation in different ways, which could affect the board's decision.
Well, Eric Menendez has to wait at least 3 years before his next parole hearing per California state law. Lyle's hearing will start in just a couple of hours at 10:30 this morning as well. We'll keep an eye on that. In another case this morning, the Justice Department is set to start releasing files on Jeffrey Epstein to the House Oversight Committee today. That's according to the committee's chair, Representative James Comer. The Republican says the panel will ensure redactions protect victims in ongoing cases. Then Comer says the committee plans to make the files public.
We're going to review and we'll work as quickly as we can. This is sensitive information.
Well, today's anticipated release is a response to lawmaker subpoenas. In a July memo, the Justice Department argues further disclosure isn't appropriate. It says the files contain sensitive information about victims. Rapper Lil Nas X was arrested and briefly taken to a hospital for a suspected overdose Thursday after Los Angeles police say he charged at officers responding to a report of a naked man walking on a busy boulevard. Officers say they found him walking there on Ventura Boulevard shortly before 6 a.m. Thursday. Investigators say he charged at arriving police. He was taken into custody, but the officers suspecting that drug overdose took him to the hospital first. He was released and then taken to jail just a few hours later. Well, still to come, we'll have some trending stories like the new Chipotle partnership at a UK restaurant offering an entire menu of, get this, bottled water. Also, let's take a live look outside in Fort Smith at 7:51 this morning. The Arkansas River. Beautiful sunrise. We'll be right back.